Jordan and the US are announcing new measures aimed at easing the recent tensions between Israelis and the Palestinians. US Secretary of State John Kerry met with Jordanian and Palestinian leaders on Saturday. Among the measures, Kerry announced that Israel has agreed to a 24-hour video surveillance on the site known to the Jews as the Temple Mount and to the Muslims as the Noble Sanctuary. Kerry called this a game changer. Meetings over the next several days will hammer out more details. Oren Libermann has more for us now, live from Jerusalem. Oren, what do you make of this 24-hour surveillance agreement? How significant is it?
Well, it could be very significant. Kerry said he was cautiously optimistic after meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu, coming into these meetings with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and with King Abdullah of Jordan. Jordan's role in this is that Jordan has custodianship over this holy site, over the Al-Aqsa compound, and the idea behind this 24-hour surveillance is that it would deter, it would scare away disturbances on the Al-Aqsa compound, which was really right at the beginning, right at the origin of these tensions between Israelis and Palestinians, going back about 5 or 6 weeks before we saw that flare-up of violence. So the idea here is, if there is 24-hour surveillance, and if that can be the beginning of the first few steps here, maybe that cuts a bit off the tensions on the ground that we've seen here. Maybe that puts an end or helps put an end to the violence that we've seen here over the last few weeks. Already here, it seems as if it's easing down a bit, it's calming down a bit. Jerusalem itself has been perhaps tensely quiet over the last week or so. Tensely quiet, probably the best way to word that. Still a very heavy Israeli security presence, especially in the Palestinian neighborhoods of the old city, of East Jerusalem. We've seen a few removals of checkpoints and barriers there, but still a number of those in place. In terms of West Bank, the violence shifted from Jerusalem to the Southwest Bank in Hebron over the last few days. Even Hebron seems to be a little quieter today. There was one incident in the Northwest Bank where we've seen a few incidents over the last few days. There, the IDF says there was an alleged attack against Israeli security forces. Israeli forces shot and killed a Palestinian teenager accused of carrying out that attack. But importantly, perhaps Kerry was right when he says he was cautiously optimistic, a very slight easing of the tensions here. Linda?
And Oren, Kerry met with the Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas a short time ago. Do we know yet what came out of those talks?
Well, I think Kerry, to an extent, said exactly what he said to Netanyahu, which is tone down the rhetoric, scale back on the accusations. We've seen Palestinian and Israeli leaders blaming each other for incitement and for this recent round of violence. More importantly, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas sharing his message with Secretary Kerry, which is, Kerry, do what you can to stop settler violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. Also talking about the status quo, which is the unwritten agreement that governs the Al-Aqsa compound, the holy site that will now have this 24-hour surveillance, and asking the U.S. to play a greater role in helping to keep calm here, or at least try to keep some calm and easing of tensions here.
Okay, Oren Libermann, live for us in Jerusalem. Thank you very much.